Louis, Missouri. And like my parents really, they really enforced the importance of education to me. And the high school that I was supposed to go to had a bad reputation. It was unaccredited. It had an AIDS epidemic and everything because we didn't have the luxury of living in a good neighborhood. So what my mother did for me, she basically lied to protect my education. People lie to protect their reputations, their families, and my mother lied to protect my education. She used one of her friends' addresses so I could go to a better school, so I wouldn't be looked at like everyone else was looked at. But to go to that school, my mother had to give me $5 a day to get on the public transportation to get there. I had to wake up 2 hours earlier just to get a better education. And the school was a public school, but it was a better public school because of the zone it was in. And I really appreciate this. I'm so happy I came here. I came here for extra credit. Sometimes you just meant to be somewhere. You know, sometimes it's just meant for you to come somewhere, and I feel like it was meant for me to be here. It was kind of like an awakening experience to me. And I was so happy when y'all was talking about the Reformation and the schools that we had. The Reformation, because I'm leaning more towards the Reformation part. And I feel like we've been lied to. We've been lied to by hearing all this stuff saying that the Reformation is impossible, and that's why the charter schools were created and stuff like that. But Reformation is possible. You know, it's possible. It's happening in our country and all that. But anyways, I just have a question. I just want to ask you all, why do you think it's the divide? Why do you think the divide has gone so much in depth, like between the charter schools and the regular public schools? Why is that?
I'm going to let Philip answer that, and we're getting close to my 20 minutes of and the final.
Because it is an issue of money, and it's an issue of people's jobs and livelihoods, of which I think it should be clear we all want to protect individuals' rights to work when they do the right thing and they do a good job. But I think that this hard issue needs to be student-centered first. And when we look at it from a child first, it will help us make the right decision. As the former chancellor of the New York school system said, I don't think he was proud that some people lost jobs in the high schools that he had to close where there was 10 and 15% performance. But what he said, he had to look at it as, was it delivering for the student first? And I think that's what we need to do here. And if we center it on the students first, I think we'll be able to make those tough decisions.
All right. Our wrap-up, the 1 minute thing that you want to say.
Okay. I'm not really sure about the divide. I am, for the most part, I'm working 7 days a week, trying to find the thing that's gonna put that light bulb on a couple of my kids. I don't have time to think about the debate. All of my time is spent, how am I gonna get this kid excited about the main idea in the story? How am I going to meet this deadline? How am I going to tell this parent, I'm really sorry, but your child's not on grade level. I really don't know what happened. He's been with me 10 weeks. He's in 3rd grade. He's reading at a 1st grade level. That's a tough conversation to have. And I'm really sorry. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do for this little guy? How am I going to move him? That's my concern. And I think that a lot of teachers have that concern, but I also think that the system wears us down. from one initiative to the next initiative to the next initiative. As soon as you feel like you have a handle on what's going on in your classroom, oops, sorry, what you were doing, we're getting rid of that now. But it just started working for my kids. Well, somebody else said that something XYZ program was going to work better. So there's this constant thing. So for me, it's not so much charter versus public, although I do believe in public schools, obviously. It's about how best to educate each kid that's with me.
You know, I too believe in public schools. I graduated from Simeon Vocational, which we had a lot of pride at Simeon. And I believe that there are a lot of hardworking teachers like the ones that are on this panel here that are fighting against some very difficult bureaucratic issues that are not new, that have developed over 20 and 30 years. But ultimately, who loses? The teachers have lost, and they have some tough, stressful jobs and tough conditions. But ultimately, the biggest losers have been students, children. And that's what I have had to really come to grips with. And I think that we're in a crisis, and CPS, unlike many school districts across this country, is looking at a $500 million deficit for next year, right? So there's no new money coming down the pike to change this system. So if I can save another 30,000 or 3,000 or 300, if I can provide another option where we can bring in a charter and I just save 300 students that may change the dynamic in their family, where 10 years from now, the parent is empowered to do something differently for that child, I think we need to do that and do it today.
It was mentioned earlier that if we align strategies across all schools, then it would kind of help the situation. I think it also comes down to, though, even if that is there, there's a measure of rigor that is necessary in terms of high expectation of all of our students, whether they're on the south side of Chicago, north side, out in Winnetka, out in Oak Park, it doesn't matter. That there's that high expectation that all of our students can learn and will achieve. And when we do that, a part of that is contingent on the quality of teachers. That teachers are in the classroom working, that they are providing, they have the skills and strategies and the ideas to bring innovative ideas and the passion to their students. And that's influenced by a lot of things, regardless of parental support, regardless of their social capital, regardless of human capital. And that's going to go back to teacher preparation programs. That's going to go back to accountability on multiple levels. And when we do that, we then protect our children's futures, which is what should be at the center of all things.
Okay, well, I'm solution-oriented, and I look at the bigger picture. So I look at that mother, I look at that teacher, I look at that principal, which makes a major difference in all of our schools, and then I look at the system and the government. Because we have to impact on all of those levels. And this system, as Mr. Hampton said, didn't happen or become to be where we are today, which is an educational crisis. Don't get me wrong. We are in educational crisis. But it didn't happen overnight, and it's not going to be fixed overnight. But we have to stop blaming, and we have to stop pointing the finger, and we have to all roll up our sleeves and try to impact education on a scale that matters. And that's why I look at the bigger picture and look at every level of how education is impacted. And that's why I believe that Harlem Renaissance Zone has been so successful, because they start at birth and go all the way to college. And let me just close by saying that while, yes, college is an option, that's what it should be, an option. And it does impact the quality of life for our children, but so do plumbers, so do electricians, so do craft carpenters and master carpenters and other people who don't go through a college program, but go through a preparation program similar.